just to the upper forethoracic discs. So it's the first mistake you always make. It's the first disc. Yeah, they teach you. They heavily teach that in school. You got to be careful whenever you'll see me slow down whenever I say disc. But nobody went over these MRIs with you.
No, and that's the frustrating part is like
But
I
who
don't
ordered them?
understand the. So I've seen several different orthopedic doctors, and
Yeah.
I feel like recently I've gotten more answers than I had gotten in the past.
The word doctor means teacher. It's supposed to teach you.
Yeah.
I don't understand what I'm looking at. Explain to me what I'm looking
Right.
at.
I
If
read the report and I'm like, this looks
Well,
bad.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the spot. That's the good stuff.
That's the spot. Oh, God, that hurts. Oh, man, you're good, though. You know exactly where to
Oh,
get
that's the
it.
spots.
Oh, yeah.
Next,
My
headaches.
headache is
headaches-
gone. I had a headache when I came, and I don't have a headache anymore.
Wonderful.
Yay, that's wonderful for me too.
2000 and 2001, I was rear-ended. Guy was doing 50 miles an hour. I was at a stoplight. So that was the first one. Caused a lot of low back pain.
That you hadn't had before, lower
Right.
back.
And then in the middle of my back. And then 2001, it just, this guy pulled out in front of me and I T-boned him. And it just like,
Anything new after that?
no,
accident?
the same, just,
Made everything worse.
yeah. I feel like it was something with my rotator cuff
Rotator
or
cuff.
something.
Okay.
They went in and repaired a little bit, just cleaned things up, bone spurs and whatnot. Recently, I've been having trouble with my arm. It's probably been, I don't know, maybe 3 years or 4 years I've been dealing with it, and
Tell
it
me
just
what you're
seems like
feeling.
it's getting worse.
Down the arm or in the hands?
Yeah, so it's really bad, like in my armpit area
Okay.
and here. I work with special needs children,
Gotcha.
and like whenever we're in adaptive PE and I'm helping him with his exercises and stuff, it's if I do anything with over my head, it really acts up. I noticed that if I don't use it as much, it doesn't hurt as bad, and I was seeing a doctor and she did some injections and stuff, and
We
so
have an
really
MRI
haven't had anything that's helped.
We have an MRI that shows what's going on there. So you have a cervical and a lumbar. I had a chance to look at the cervical MRI. I don't have the lumbar MRI here, but the cervical MRI, I'm going to look at a picture. I'll show it to you. Did they go over that MRI of your neck with you? Did anybody?
No.
No doctor like showed you that and like gave you
No.
the significance of that? We're going to do that right now. So when you lift your arm up, there's wires that come out of holes on the side of your neck, and when you lift your arm up, those holes get smaller. Those nerves go down your arm to your shoulder to the hand. It's why you're having difficulty doing things with your arms up, because that compresses an area that's already low on tread. So there's discs which are non-sensitive that are thinned out, they're herniated. I'll show you in a second. That's your problem. That is the core problem, and it's going to cause rotator cuff injury because the health of your shoulder and the health of your arm all comes from that nerve. Think of it this way. If you have a cut on your arm and I put a tourniquet here, that cut would never heal, right? No matter of like, well, I have the best fish, I have the best nutrition, right? But if there's no blood flow, it doesn't matter, right? Because there's no nutrients are getting in there to heal that cut.
Right.
And say you have a cut on your arm and you didn't have any nutrients, then it wouldn't matter how much I adjusted you. You simply don't have the materials to rebuild yourself with. And also, the least understood component is that if there's a cut on your hand and the nerve is pinched in your neck, the cut won't heal either. No matter how much we rub it, or how much fish oil you take, you understand? It won't
Yeah.
matter because and I think of it like a plant. The simplest analogy is like a plant needing water, fertilizer, and sunlight. It needs a combination of all three. You can't just give it water and fertilizer and stick it in the closet. It's still going to die, right? So you need a combination of those three. And so when we have what I saw on your neck MRI, that's your problem. And the amount that's going to affect from not just your hand and arm, but your thyroid, your thymus, your lungs, your heart, those are all on the same circuits. Just kind of a preview here. They note the injury in your lower neck, but the actual radiologist also noted that the upper back is not injured. And I find that to be super significant. While the medical world sometimes underplays that, they go, you're 50 years old and your lower neck looks like 75, but your upper back looks like 18, right? So they look at the 18-year-old area. I think I'm going to look at the report in a second. I think it says unremarkable. And I'm going, well, it's not unremarkable for an area to not age. That's actually remarkable that it's not participating in the work, and that's actually the reason for why your lower neck has excessively aged, right?
Okay.
So part of your neck has done triple the work, and a part of your neck has done 10% of the work, right?
Yes.
And everybody focuses on the damaged area, trying to inject it, trying to do something to it, but that area is already abused. It really can't be helped by doing some sort of, manipulating it or lasering it or zapping it. It's already sprained ankle. What do we do? Sprain it some more and move it around? It's already. I had one guy pedal bicycle pedals with very similar looking, this is going to unpinch a nerve in my neck, right? So somehow that strengthening your core, your back muscles is going to resolve this. We have to get your ear, and I can already, the head's forward, and that's your problem. That's what caused the loss of curve in your neck. And then the lower back is just a domino, and that's where I have the report for your lower back. So the more forward, you have car accidents 20 years ago, you have an injury, your head then heals here to get an avoidance. The more forward your head goes, the tighter your middle back becomes.
Yeah, I can't do anything. Everything I try, nothing will,
It won't, because it's postural. It's postural.
Yeah, my
my
muscles are so tight they won't relax at all.
Right, because your posture.
Yeah.
The posture has to be changed. They actually noted here it is. I mean, just to, the upper four thoracic discs. So it's the first mistake you always make. It's the first. Disc. Yeah, they teach you. They heavily teach that in school. You got to be careful whenever you'll see me slow down whenever I say disc. All right, the upper four thoracic discs are included in this examination and show no abnormalities. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what that means is that they've been in a time capsule. They haven't aged. There's no evidence of wear. And I find that sentence to be the whole, that's heavily significant, that you're 50 and they still look the same as they did when you were 18, right? That they haven't aged. And while they have two giant paragraphs here, right, describing the horrible things that happened to the C5, C6 disc and the C6, C7 disc, those areas have diffuse disc bulge, degenerative bone spurs, right? These are what happens when an area does extra. It grows. Like you overwork a muscle, it grows larger. If you overwork a joint, it grows larger. The bones grow. That's not a disease. I actually disagree with it's not degenerating, it's regenerating. Do you call a callus on your skin a disease? The skin's getting thicker. It's it's an adaptation. The body's trying to toughen up the skin by making it larger. If you lift weights and your muscles tear, they grow larger.
Yeah.
The labral tears, I think, do you want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah.
When was that diagnosed, or?
For my shoulder.
For the hip sockets.
For my hip, it's
the right hip.
It's my right one. Just recently. When did I go?
Earlier this year, they said he had
Yeah.
labral tear. Tell me what you're feeling, first of all.
So, if I'm laying in bed, I literally feel like my bone is gonna go completely through the socket.
Mm-hmm.
It hurts so bad.
Just to move your hip around.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and when I lay down, if I lay on my side, if I lay on my left side, it hurts so bad.
Mm-hmm.
It hurts to sleep on my right hip all the time, and it hurts to walk. I do a lot of walking at school because we walk with our kiddos, and by the end of the night, I'm in so much pain.
So who ordered that hip MRI?
So
An ortho or?
Yeah, the ortho.
And you went and had a follow-up with him, and what did they say at that exam?
That I need a full hip replacement.
Total hip replacement, okay.
Mhm.
The labrum, did they explain to you that the labrum is the cartilage in there, and that the labrum is the lip? It's where, so the cartilage in your hip isn't spread out evenly. There's certain sections that have a lot of cartilage, and there's certain sections that have thinner cartilage. Your body's supposed to be pivoting mainly on the thick part. It's
Yeah.
like if you have a yacht, you should be in the channel. You shouldn't have your channel, the boat in the sandbar. You're gonna hit the bottom of the ground. Does that make
Right.
sense? So if your alignment of your hips, because we sit a lot, the hips go forwardly rotated, we start pushing our femoral head on the labrum, and it gets damaged, it gets torn, and then that labrum doesn't heal. It doesn't have the capacity for replacement that skin and muscles and other tissue can. And so it is difficult. Those are difficult injuries. My first, way of treating this is, let's see what happens when we just get the weight off that area, right? Let's see how much better we get just by moving, by readjusting the hips, stretching them. We're going to show you some butterfly stretches and let's see how difficult this is. If it's easy, I'm going to be confused, but we can try to move the weight back to where it isn't injured, and let's see how life is there. But I've had, 50-50 on that one. It's tough. That's a tough injury. It's because anytime you move your hip, I mean, if I move my hip forward, it does go there. And if it's torn, it's always going to hurt if you chew on that cracked tooth. It's like, I can teach you to chew on the other teeth, but yeah, if you ever go back to chewing on that one tooth, I have no way of it not hurting.
Right.
It is difficult. And the ortho guy's kind of right. You might need to have that's a tough one. But what I'm trying to also say is that the health of your hip sockets comes from your lower back nerves. So we have multiple disc injuries, like in your neck, in your lower back on MRI. So but nobody went over these MRIs with you?
No, and that's the frustrating part is like,
But
I
who
don't
ordered them?
understand so I've seen several different orthopedic doctors, and
Yeah.
I feel like recently I've gotten more answers than I had gotten in the past.
Okay. It's the job of the doctor who orders it to go over the MRI with you. You understand? If I order an MRI of somebody, it's your responsibility to take the 2 minutes, the 5 minutes to show the person the picture and explain what you maybe pay for it, or the insurance paid for it, or somebody paid for it. Here's what's going on. I can at least got your cervical MRI.
The knee doctor is the only one that went over any of my things.
Yeah, that's kind of dropping the ball here a little bit. At least that's kind of what the whole idea of a doctor is. The word doctor means teacher. It's supposed to teach you.
Yeah.
I don't understand what I'm looking at. Explain to me what I'm looking
Right.
at.
I read the report and I'm like, this looks bad.
Bunch of Latin words, exactly. I don't know what they mean. To our left here, your throat's here, your airway. So these are the joints back here that you can feel. These are the little spinuses, right? Each one of these little gray guys are the bumps on the back of your neck. Your skin is right up here. So the spinal cord is this gray tube here, and then this is the canal. The white is cerebral spinal fluid that gives nourishment to your spinal cord. The discs are supposed to be looking like these two guys here.
Yeah.
So they're made of water, about 70-80% water, and so they notice how white or more white they look here. These are all normal, healthy looking discs, and then you can see how the actual bone here is a little white. See how the bone actually has gotten, that's like a bruise. The bone has actually become inflamed, swollen, bruised, and then the disc has what we call desiccated. It's dried up, it's been overstressed, and then the height has gone down. So this is why you've shrunk a little bit since you were younger, because that height, just that one disc lost, half a
I
centimeter.
have been shrinking too.
Well, you see my point? Because the discs are
Yeah.
we don't have to just consign to that. It's because there's too much weight on the disc, because this has no feeling. The cartilage has no sensation. What has sensation is the joints back here, which is what gets injured in a car accident. That throws the weight onto the disc, and now the discs have been aging at a faster rate. Notice that there's supposed to be space between the back of the disc and the spinal cord, and notice how
It's like pushed
they're getting closer, right? So there's got pressure on the spinal cord. Not good. The spinal cord actually has no sensation. It actually, that actually contacts that for a long period of time, it actually just causes numbness. It'll just damage the nerves coming out of there. Most likely what we're going on right now.
Can that cause headaches?
Well, the headaches are coming from what is more the source of this. So the neck is designed to function from the top first and the bottom last. There's a firing order, meaning that it shouldn't be possible to overstress your lower neck without first overstressing your upper neck. The headaches are coming from the fact that this must be locked. An area being locked means it doesn't flow properly. There's congestion and inflammation trapped in an area that's frozen. Now, because it's frozen, it's not aging, which is why this is unremarkable. It's not unremarkable. It's been sitting in a time capsule, but the headaches come from suboccipital inflammation, which I'm going to work on, which by getting that area working takes the stress off these lower neck discs. The other thing that happens, so we have canal stenosis is what this is called. So the actual stenosis means narrowing. The canal is getting more narrow. So the spinal cord going down the tube is being constricted from sort of a top-down view. Does that make sense? It's getting narrow. So we also have what we call intervertebral foraminal stenosis. So the hole on the side at every level, there's a nerve that comes out from the side, and you can see that the disc supports open the hole, right? So as that disc becomes thinner, the hole becomes more narrow. This is going to cause the radiating. This is going to cause the symptoms that go down the arm is pressure. It's like hitting your funny bone. If I hit the funny bone, you feel it in your finger.
I have
If you hit-
numbness a lot in this hand.
That's coming from the discs in the
Got
neck,
it.
100%. There's no debate. we have an MRI of the neck. We see the disc injuries. There's your problem. Now, what the typical medical solution is one is to either shoot it with drugs, go in there and shave things off. That's the first surgery is called a discectomy or a rhizotomy. They'll go in there and they'll scrape off the part of the disc that's bulging out. They'll scrape off some of the bone spurs, but the body purposefully and intelligently put those bone spurs in there, right? It grew the bone because of the stress. And then going in there and shaving them off, the body says, where'd those bone spurs go? Put more.
Oh,
And then it does in a year, and then they go, oh my gosh, the bone spurs are back. And then they shave them off again, and they usually end up with a rod.
So I have a spot in my back right here that it hurts like all day long, every day. And I've,
So, right here?
mhm.
Yeah, these are real sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the joints in there. So the knuckles in there are radiating pain around, you're pointing right to the facet.
Yeah.
So the joint, you can that's why you can go, it's right there. That's the knuckle. And then the knuckle will radiate pain kind of in an area around the knuckle. Cross this arm under. We're gonna start with this chest here for you. Take a deep breath in for me. I'm gonna help you to sit up. And then exhale for me. Let all the air out. You're good. Stay there. There we go. Deep breath in. You did great. You did great. It's okay. Exhale. Let it out. All right, it's frozen there. Yeah, I got you. I know. Exhale, one more. Let it go. Right. Get the idea? I got one
Yeah,
bone. I got one
It's
bone.
really tight or frozen, whatever.
I got one bone to move out of the upper 10. You understand? That's your
terrible.
cause. Now, like a bolt, you got to get some oil on it, some penetrating oil, soak it. Or like a plate with dried up food, you let it soak for a couple hours.
Yes.
Those need now some. We're gonna massage and work them, and then we're gonna try to adjust them again. And then it takes some rounds. It's like cleaning a stain in carpet. You gotta let the soap and water soak the stain. Slide down for me on your side. Deep breath in for me. Exhale for me. Exhale. Oh boy. Okay. Other side. I got you. Other side. Okay. Other side. I know. I'm checking you. Yeah, it's just frozen. Face up for me. Okay. All right. That's part of why your lower back L5, L4 are in distress, because everybody around them is in a coma. SI joints are in a coma. Middle back's in a coma. Does anybody else work around here? No. All right. Wow. All right. Yeah, big lump here on the right side of your neck. Wow. This is a roommate in here. Jeez. Feel how small it is, and this is how the right side should feel. Here we go, real gentle. Here we go. I got you. There you go. Wow. Clunk. It feels like dried up and like crispy. Okay. All right. Do you notice the left was not as loud?
Yeah.
That's based on distance. That's what I mean by the right. The right was like clunk, clunk, clunk because the distance that the hitchhikers are.
It always feels like it's jammed up on this side.
Yes, ma'am,
Like
yeah.
I can feel the jamming back there.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Right. So the thoracic outlet is the funnel that the nerves that leave your lower neck have to go through to get to your arm. The thoracic outlet is impinged three ways. One, the vertebrae in the neck go backwards, or what we call posterior. They go out of alignment. Two, the ribs in your upper back rise up. That's why you notice that when your arms are above your head, that rises them up even more, and they pinch the thoracic outlet.
I can hear them crack up.
Right. Three, the actual tissue that the nerves are sitting in as they travel down to the shoulder, the acidity or inflammation of the tissue that the nerves are in contributes to making a nerve more easily fireable, right? So we call this sensitization. The nerves work on a principle called action potentials. When they finally reach a threshold, they finally fire. And this is why you can go from what's considered normal to right sub-threshold, and there's no pain difference, right? So you can irritate the spine for years until you finally get it to that cliff edge. Does that make sense? This is what makes, there's a disconnect between when the problem started and when I felt it.
Yeah.
Because of this, nerves do not communicate to you like muscles and other tissue. in your body have a more direct connection with. Nerves are gonna kind of, hey, how you doing? I'm your friend. And then all of a sudden they just stabbing you right in the back.
Well, about the same time that this started hurting, I started getting this like shocking pain. I went to all kinds of neurologists. I went to every doctor I could find,
Yes.
and nobody could figure out what was wrong.
Again, I mean, you take a cervical MRI. I can see clearly now. I mean, I don't know what else you need. We have 2 disc injuries. Typically, very typically, I'll have people come in with shoulder symptoms. It's like if you hit your funny bone, you feel it in your fingers. Should we be taking pictures of the fingers, right? Or taking a picture of where the pressure's happening? Do you follow me?
Yeah.
So you're feeling things here, and everybody takes a picture of the area that the sensation's in, yet the pinching is happening here. And then they'll advise somebody to have shoulder surgery. And maybe the shoulder is in trouble because of that atrophying from the nerve being pinched. You follow me?
Yeah.
So when I finally get a neck MRI, those same guys that wanted to do shoulder surgery will say, oh, Dr. Ed, you're right. Yeah, that is the neck. Correct, it is the neck. Let's operate on that. I'm like, no, that's not why I took the neck MRI. It wasn't just to have you guys agree with me and then offer neck surgery. But that's very typical. They'll agree with me and go, correct, Dr. Ed, it isn't the shoulder, it is the neck all along. Let's operate on that. Gosh, you guys are killing me. How about we balance the spine? You have a very young, healthy upper neck. It's 18 years old. Right, I'm just checking everybody around here, and they're all bright. Yeah. That's got to go down, and I got upper neck frozen up here.
Is it because the muscles are so tight, and is that why that rib like pops out so much?
These are the roots of your neck. So the more forward your head goes, the more the ribs rise up.
Got it.
Think of a tree leaning over. The roots on the opposite side come out of the ground. Those are the ribs.
Got it.
Again, it's an alignment issue. It's not. You can sit here and try to push the roots down, and I say good luck with that. Good luck trying to just use that. Why are you doing it, Dr. Ed? Because I'm trying to loosen up her spine so we actually can stretch and get the tree upright. That's what's going to fix her, is getting your head over your shoulders and getting the curves back to your spine. Your lawn should have an irrigation system that just automatically cleans itself or washes itself or hydrates itself, let's say. You shouldn't have to pay somebody to manually walk around your lawn with a hose and manually water your whole lawn every day. It's ridiculous, right? It's really expensive, first of all, and right? The whole idea is to maybe tear up the yard a little bit, get the irrigation lines cleaned out and fixed. Does that make sense? So that there's a homeostasis. There's just congestion in here.
I can feel it feels lumpy.
There's the bolt.
I can feel it. I try to massage it all the time. It just comes right back.
Either be on your back, or the main thing is I want you to start avoiding your left, sleeping on your left side.
Okay. I'll train myself to sleep on my
We
back.
don't be on the right side, or just how about less time on the left? Maybe the first.
I think the reason why is because my hip hurts so bad. Like here on the outside, it just hurts so much.
I'm saying it's going to be a process of weaning off of it. You
Got
understand?
it.
You're not going to
Yeah.
be able to cold turkey, based on the amount of misalignment that I see here. Ed, I tried sleeping on my back. I couldn't sleep. I had to go to my left side. I understand. Let's try to do one less hour tonight on your left side. I just have a feeling you're spending way too much time on your left, and then that's just.
Yeah.
And again, there's dominoes here. That's causing me to want to get away from that, and that's what's shifting me over here, and that's what's creating my neck issue, and the car accidents damage things, and you got to zoom out and look at the whole person. You almost can take your thumb. I think about taking your thumb and try to stick it up here once in a while and just try to tilt your head to the right over your thumb. Makes sense. You take your
Right where.
kind of take that, and you just try to stretch that left side out a little bit and try to makes sense. Let it be okay that your head tilts to the right.
Got it.
Start working on intermittently throughout your day. The more we get this, the more it's out of alignment, the stiffer your atlas and axis are going to be. We have to get this bone centered so that this engine starts to run, which then takes the stress off your lower neck, which stops the pinching. That's the only way we're going to get out of this.
Well, you made my headache go away. Thanks.
Yeah, well, I told you that. That's because everything's so crooked up here. Yeah, the muscles are working on overtime, right? It's like if I hold a bowling ball out in front of me, my muscles work harder than if it's close to my body,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So if we just bring the bowling ball, the weight's still there. It's just where you're holding it.
Right.
The farther out that bone becomes, the muscles are working real hard, and no wonder you're going to irritate some nerves that are in proxy to the upper neck. And that's what's going to cause the headache. That's easy to fix, but easy to resolve, but hard to ultimately fix, which requires stretching. We got to get the curve. We have to hold your neck here for 20 minutes. I see here. All right. Yeah.
Does it seem lumpier on that side?
Left side, yeah. I got same thing. Yeah, this left side's all elevated right here. Yeah, here. It's right here. And you said it's the right hip, is that correct?
Yep.
The right hip is the. Mhm.
Yep.
So the left middle back is responsible for your right lower back. The left middle back, if locked, is going to throw the work down to your right lower because you're in left middle of back avoidance, causing right lower abuse. Right lower abuse causes right hip destruction.
Got it.
So yes, there is destruction to the right hip socket. It's like a plant that withers and it starts to crumble and then somebody touches it and it falls apart. Well, you destroyed it. Well, it was about ready to fall apart. You know, it was weak to begin with. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the hip will atrophy. A means without, trophy means nutrition. So it will lose its nutritional uptake and then become weaker and then be damaged. But ultimately, it was because the nerve was upset. You have 2 disc herniations in your lower back. That's your problem.
Right.
We have 2. Nobody should keep talking.
Is there anything to do for
Yes,
those?
we have to get the weight off them.
Got
How about
it.
this? You're 50
That makes
and your lower
sense.
back is 75, 80. Now here's the thing. I don't want it to keep aging.
Right, me either.
How about this? When you get to 75, I hope it looks 75,
Right.
right? And it doesn't keep aging to 110, right? So we want to
Right.
slow down the aging of the older parts of your spine so that you catch up to them. And then the 18, 20-year-old parts of your back, I want them to start aging. Let's get them to look like 40. Let's wear them out a little bit. Let's start chewing on these brand new teeth that you got over here that you've just forgotten about. All right. My wife said to bring it down a little bit, so too much chatty. So, I have an hour and a half with you. I'm going to give you as much as I can give you.
I love all the information.
You know, I mean,
though.
geez, it's like anybody can just be quiet the whole hour and a half. I'm going to keep going back to it like a magnet. There it is.
Well, I'll tell you what, soaking in the ocean has helped
Good.
my hip tremendously since we've been here.
Okay. That's just Epsom salt sucks out the inflammation. Yeah, just it's a good sign that just moving the hip into a different position will help you.
Oh, that one really hurts on that side.
I feel it. Yeah. Speed bump right here.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Speed bump.
On my highway. Going 80 miles an hour. But also, what the heck was that?
It totally feels like.
Hey, big guy, you okay, bud? We're almost done, bud, okay? Keep playing, bud. Being a good boy.
Oh, yeah, I can feel that.
This is the
Right
second.
in that,
Yes.
right in that area is where I always like push and I can like make that shocking pain
Yep.
stop.
Yep. Thoracic outlets. This is the upper. This is the rib. Remember I said the rib and the upper back are up.
Yep.
You gotta work these ribs down.
Oh yeah.
Oh
the
yeah, that's the
spot.
spot. That's the good stuff.
That's the spot. Oh God, that hurts.
I hurt myself before I hurt her. Okay, this is over. I just hurt myself.
Oh man, you're good though. You know exactly where to get it.
Spots.
Oh,
I know all the best hiding spots.
yeah, seriously.
I know all that.
Oh my God, that hurts.
There.
Yep, there it is.
Whoa, there it is. Yeah, just let your back relax in the table. Let it sink in. Let these. Not doing any favors. Let them go. Yeah, it's all. This is what she's feeling internally. Yeah, gotta get that out of there.
He always gives me back massages. He's such a good husband.
Good.
Now you know how to give an elbow massage too.
Yeah.
Well, ever since I had my thyroid taken out 10 years ago, I've had terrible trouble with medications. Like, I'm allergic to everything.
Right. And do you remember? I think I mentioned thyroid earlier, right?
Yeah.
Do you see why the thyroid?
Yeah.
It's not a coincidence that your thyroid was in trouble.
Yeah.
The thyroid is your C5, your C6.
Right.
You're saying that's why your thyroid, at the same time your thyroid was atrophying, right? That's because the nerves were pinched. Because the nerve bifurcates after it exits the spinal column. So one nerve goes down your arm, the other nerve goes to your thyroid,
Oh, wow.
right? So, but the pinching is happening before the fork in the road.
Right.
So both branches are going to be affected. Having this area hurt so bad influences the health of your hip socket.
That makes sense.
I'm not saying that the alignment's correct. I'm not saying that the labrum isn't torn but it's never gonna it's not gonna be healthy if the nerve's not healthy.
Right.
Right? So having the nerve irritated here, having it irritated by the exit in your lower back that the disc puts pressure on, all influence that channel. You know, most tissue in your body replaces red blood cells. You know, everything's on a replacement cycle. Bone. Why don't? He has to give me a job. I don't know. I don't know the answer. I have questions for when I get up there. You wanted a job, right? Okay, Paul. I'm sorry. I don't know. My hypothesis is that they did replace, and then it was taken away when the apple, could have been a pear, was eaten. You know, it just says fruit. The poor apple's always like some. Poor apple always gets the bad rap.
Oh, my God.
All right, so that's what we're dealing with in here. This is. I think I
bad.
found the reason for. That's that right side that you were feeling.
Yes.
It's all this inflammation that we got to get
That's
out of there.
right where I hurt when I fell at work.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. That's bad.
All right. There we go.
I think I might need one of those rollers.
Yeah, yeah,
It's called a magnet roller.
yeah. Magnetic roller, yeah. There you go.
Did anything in the back move or still?
It was just, it's filled with fluid. It has to be
Yeah.
stretched. We got to stretch it. We're going to do that in a second.
I got shorts on underneath.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah, we got work to do.
Oh,
Yeah. You gotta
this
work
really
on-
hurts this one.
Correct. And you need to work on getting these knees to the ground,
Okay.
right? You got to be able to have, I'm going to show off.
Gosh.
I know. You got to get those knees. And then, you know, so
Holy.
if the ground was in my way, I could go farther. They call it tree pose in yoga. They do it, when you're standing, they do it like this.
Oh, wow. I will work on that.
You got it. If the knee is up in tree pose, that means the hip is forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You got to open the hip back, which is what you're doing by, like I said, in tree pose. The other way is, they do it like this, or even just stretching like this. As long as you have these books behind you, I think you probably can get it. You'd be safe enough to do it. As long as it hurts where it's pressing in, and you're not feeling it somewhere else.
I
Those
know.
are safe to do. And start using this as a portable elbow that you can put in your back. If you were here in Sarasota, I wouldn't give this to you until visit 6. I'm just giving you my protocol.
Yeah.
Because you're not really ready for it. I need more limberness out of your back adjustment before you're really. So two, either one, it's not going to be that effective because your back is too stiff, which means you're wasting your time on it.
Right.
You probably should just go to a roller then. You know, it's hard to say how effective it's going to be if your back is still too rigid.
Right, that makes
Um,
sense.
As long as it's just hurting where it's pressing in, you're not going to hurt yourself. If you start, what can happen is when you're pressing on your middle back, your lower back is bending, and then that wouldn't be good
Okay.
because you're bending in an unintended area.
Right.
So call me or, hey, Dad, hey, I had the device in my middle back, or hurting my lower back. I'm going to probably say, stop doing it.
Right.
You know, need to be adjusted, need to have, you know, I had one bone move in your upper back, and even when I did the roller at the end, that takes 2-3 hours of time to work all that out of there to get the limberness back to your spine that you've lost.
Right.
And then these devices become very effective at retaining. These are retainers for that.
Okay.
So without the care on the table, you know, even for the neck. See, my other worry is that when you're bending back with this, your neck will bend. See, if I don't have these blocks here, do you see how
Yes.
this will bend too much? And I did the back dinner, my neck started to pinch, and my shoulder's killing me. So this gets a little bit more, you know, it's tough. Lift your head forward, head back forward. There we go.
Oh, that feels good.
There we go, and you mold. Now, initially, especially the first dozen times you do this, you're going to need to take your hand and press it on your forehead and get your head to sink. That makes sense? Then you put your hand back down and relax. You have to get it to assume the mold.
Got it. Okay.
You have to, I do not want this in your lower neck, nor do I want this so high that your chin is down, right? Like if this was so high, that makes sense. Your head's got to go over the device. I don't want it pressing upwards. I always want it either pressing in or in and downwards
Okay.
on your neck. So when it makes this contact, it kind of has a downward pressure or straight in. To achieve that, you usually just press in with your forehead, and then it'll
It'll get it where it needs
it'll
to
get
be.
a downward pressure.
Got it.
It will have a little bit of a desire to go to the valley in your lower neck where it bends the most, because that's where it's bending and that's where it wants to kind of slide down to. And you're going to need to make sure it stays in your middle upper neck as best we can.
Okay.
We're trying to not only loosen your upper neck, but also get the curve back to your neck.
That's perfect.
Start working that curve back in your neck.
That's where I always massage my neck too, because it's always so sore right there.
You gotta
And
work it.
Just,
Yep.
I can feel this huge knot. And that's
It's a-
where my headaches are.
Yes, that's going to be easy to fix. The
Like, my
headaches-
headache is
headaches-
gone. I had a headache when I came, and I don't have a headache anymore.
Wonderful.
Yay, that's wonderful for me too.
All right, very good. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it so much.